Just gotta pull up my own video so I get the comments section. There we go. I think we're live. Yeah, we are live. I guess we don't have that many people here yet, but guys, in case you missed the announcement, we're talking dive watches and dress watches live with Mr. Jory Goodman, the funniest watch guy on YouTube, also known as T3, the Time Teller. How are you, brother?
Hello, everybody. Nice to see you guys. So happy to join you. Thank you, Federico, for having me.
Oh, dude, it's my pleasure. Thank you for accepting my invitation. In case you guys missed it, a link to the Time Teller's channel in the description below. You should go subscribe to him right now, because while I can do some long-winded, technical videos, Jory is the funniest guy on watches on YouTube, and we did a stream last week on his channel. This week, we're obviously on my channel. So, guys, go give him some love.
Appreciate it. Yeah, if you want to learn something about watches, if you actually want to learn, you watch Federico. If you want to have a laugh, if you want to chuckle a little bit, feel free to check out my channel. Thank you so much for Federico putting the link in the description. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about two very different watches, two very different types of watches, dress watches and divers.
Yeah, dress watches and divers. In 2018 is the era of the sports watch, particularly the dive watch. But it wasn't that long ago, I'd say up until the mid-90s, where the dress watch reigned supreme. And I guess we're going to talk, this topic is very generalized, but I want to talk about, wearing dress watches, wearing dive watches, when is it okay to wear either, and, why this kind of switch to dive watches has happened in recent times. What do you think, brother?
Well, okay. First, Andrew Cara, the new specs look great. Thank you, everybody. I have new glasses, so I appreciate that. Okay. I 100% agree with Fed that there has been a recent disconnect. Dive watches are the thing to wear. You're going, like, if you're going to watch people, when you're a watch enthusiast, you look at dudes' wrists as they walk by, and you see if they're wearing a watch. It's a weird thing. I'll admit I do it. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to see them wearing some type of diver. Dress watches just aren't that prevalent nowadays. I think it'd be helpful, maybe, although the majority of people watching this probably definitely know the difference between a dive watch and a dress watch. We can do a simple kind of rundown of what we expect.
But before we do that, we should probably wristwatch check before we get roasted in the comments. What are you wearing, brother?
I am wearing my Seiko Tuna SBBN 031. You guys all knew I was going to wear this. This is like the diverest dive watch that I have in my collection. It's just a big hunk of metal. But what about you, Fed?
Well, actually, don't make fun of me, but I forgot we were streaming today, so I didn't wear a dive watch. I'm wearing an Omega Speedmaster Gemini 4 limited edition. This is not my watch, and no, this is not for sale. I was lent this by a good friend of the channel, Bobby. But on my desk, because I'm at the office, I do have my PAM 111, which is a dive watch, or, kind of a dive watch. And I've got a dressy Chrono Swiss, which is soon to be available, shameless plug on delraywatch.com. So I do have kind of everything covered right now.
Right. So, okay. So we both have divers on the table. I brought a dress watch. We'll talk about that in a second. But let's run down for the people out there. What is a dive watch? Fed, you can bring us into that.
Well, a dive watch is typically a larger cased watch, even though not always the case. A larger cased watch with a more robust movement, a more robust watch. It's a tool. Some of them have rotating bezels. Some of them have crown guards. But generally, it's a chunkier sports watch that is very water resistant, that people not only wear for diving, but for sportier activities, shall we say.
Awesome. We're looking at threaded crowns. We're often looking at an advanced water resistance rating. Again, something robust, something you wouldn't be worried about wearing day to day, or maybe in even some kind of tricky environments, whether it be really wet or maybe, something kind of not hazardous, but something maybe you're going to be banging it around a little bit.
And generally steel. Generally steel. Right?
Absolutely. Generally steel. We're not looking at precious metals, something that is not going to scuff or ding very easily. So Fed, what would you consider to be the criteria of a dress watch?
Well, a dress watch to me is something very elegant, something usually worn by a gentleman who is wearing a suit. A lot of times they don't have complications, but I think a complicated dress watch is definitely a thing. Usually in a precious metal, but not always. Once again, slim, sleek, fits under a shirt cuff, a more refined timepiece, so to speak.
I will absolutely agree with you, and I'll take it a little bit further. So right here is my SD DuPont Lac de Chine. We can see incredibly slim profile. And just to kind of piggyback on what Fed was saying, unlike sports watches, dress watches are kind of meant to be worn under the cuff. And this is almost segueing into the next thing I want to say about dress watches. So this came out, this is a vintage piece. This is around the 80s. This is very slim, low profile. This is supposed to kind of take the back seat to the man. This isn't supposed to be the main thing you're looking at when you go into a room. The dress watches nowadays, like from A. Lange and Son, and some of these other ones, they are very thick. They are not low profile by any means. They have a ton of complications, and I think kind of the definition or expectation of a dress watch has changed greatly in recent times.
Well, I just thought of this right now, but I'm going to bring it up, and I'm going to see if you agree, Jory. But, I'm Italian. I'm from Naples. My family's always worked in fashion. I'm not the most fashionable guy. I live in Miami. I wear polos. But, dress watches in their heyday, the 60s, 70s, and 80s, other things were more important. Like, men cared about tailoring. Men cared about, custom shoes. Appearance was much more sought after. I mean, if you wanted to go to a nice restaurant in Manhattan, you had to wear a jacket and a tie. Nowadays, none of that exists. So a dress watch took a back seat because it was just a very small part of the ensemble. Whereas nowadays, I think it's cool to almost not care about how you're dressed. And the watch is kind of like the main thing that screams, hey, look, I'm stylish, or hey, look, I've got a lot of money, which is unfortunate in my opinion. But, what do you think about that?
Cool. Okay. I'm absolutely not the most fashion forward man out there. I think most of your viewers will probably agree. But on my channel, one of the things I say is the watch should not be the centerpiece of the man. Like if you're going into a situation and the only thing you have to offer is that you're wearing some fancy schmancy hoity-toity watch on your wrist, then maybe you need to bolster up your character a little bit. But I am still a watch guy, and I do like nice things. But I think you should always be presentable, and I think you should, do your best to put your best foot forward, and because first impressions really do matter nowadays. But I don't think the watch should be kind of the centerpiece, or because this is the reason I hate Invictus, guys. I hate Invictus because they're huge, gaudy pieces of metal on your wrist. Like no one can look at anything but that. Okay, and I think that's.
Hold on, Jory. I agree with you on the Invicta thing. And here I am, funnily enough, talking about elegance and being subdued in your watches. But you're also talking about the guy who's dream watch is the Rolex Patriot GMT with a sapphire and ruby bezel. So this is more of a thing of like, don't do as I do as I say. You know what I mean? Because I'm guilty of like all the things I'm complaining about right now.
No, that's not, dude. I'm not saying that I don't like some ridiculous watches. What I'm saying is that whatever watch you choose, it should probably not be the only thing that like you're
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. We're on the same page here.
Someone,
someone said, Jonathan Beaumont said, "Bro, an Invicta is my grail." I am so sorry, Jonathan.
Jonathan, I think you're on the wrong channel, brother. But we don't discriminate here, I guess. Let's give a little shout out to some of the people watching. I got Michael Downing from Miami, who I know watches the channel quite a bit. Robert Sanchez from Italy, Padua. We got Waleed, the Watch Lounge. Annie, what's up, brother? Is a good friend of mine from New York. The Watch Display. Brian Holleran, Eddie Landsberg. Wow, a lot of regulars, guys. Thank you so much for supporting us here.
I want to shout out the Watch Display because Watch Display has been with me since day one. He's a great dude. I love you, dude. Really cool guy.
Yeah, Watch Display is a good guy. We've actually been chatting a little bit on the Instagram.
Yeah, he's awesome. Also, the Watch Lounge commented a little bit further up, and he wrote, or you could go with a more versatile watch like a Datejust, or maybe something like an Orient or Seiko Cocktail Time. Okay, yes, you could, but we're not talking about which watches you should wear. We're talking about the two kind of extremes. And there definitely is like an argument to be made with maybe just picking something versatile, like a Date or a Datejust. The fact is, though, although those perform very well in either situation, we want to talk about the extremes, the big differences. Like a diver is dedicated to get wet, be in really extreme situations, and a dress watch, right? Dress watch going to be not dainty, but much more elegant and refined.
Exactly. And so basically what I think it comes down to ultimately, Jory, is 2018. I mean, even myself, I stopped wearing suits 3 years ago. I go out every day in a polo, and as you can see, the last important watch I bought for myself was a Hulk. And the Hulk is even one of the more subdued divers nowadays. I mean, it's a Submariner, for Christ's sake. It's 40 millimeters. It actually looks pretty good when I do dress up in a sports coat. But in my opinion, when I do get dressed up, I go to a wedding or God forbid a funeral, or maybe I've got some event, I make the effort to put on a dress watch. It's just the way I do things. I mean, do you do the same?
Right. So, okay. I think if you have the ability, like I think you and I are fortunate enough to have a very versatile watch collection.
Yeah.
I have the ability to pull from numerous watches, pick a very elegant watch for that situation. Same thing if I'm on vacation or I'm going for a hike or I'm just jaunting about, I can throw on a sportier piece, no problem. I think a Submariner is a really good in between.
Yeah, you're right. Most versatile watch in the world.
Yeah, if you were to just save up for one watch, I think the Submariner would not be a bad choice because it can go into formal situations, it can go into sporty situations, it can perform incredibly well with both. Now, if you're fortunate enough to acquire multiple pieces, then yeah, I mean, you and I think have both done videos like this, where the 3-watch collection or the 2-watch collection, where you have to pick, your dedicated sports watch, your dedicated dress watch, and then an in-between. Well,
actually, on that note, a viewer here, Luke Whitaker, says, most people don't care what we wear, only we care what we wear. And Luke, while you're 100% right, most people don't give a shit. Excuse my language, I guess it's my channel. I also think that there is a little bit of, you can do a faux pas. And as I said, wear what you like. So I'm just giving you my point of view. If you disagree with me, that's fine. But for example, if I were to dress up and I put on a suit, the last thing I would wear is a Panerai Luminor Marina on a rubber strap. And there's lots of guys that do that. And it's just funny how, like, 20 years ago, that would have been, like, shocking to, like, almost everybody in the room. You know what I mean?
Just real quick, I do want to shout out Big Pizza Pie, one of my really early on viewers. I guess he was like my 50th sub around that. So thank you so much for being a supporter. Also, Fed, you have a super chat from Robert Sanchez asking us.
Right. So before you answer the question I just asked you, Robert, thank you so much for the donation. Guys, I'm not asking for donations here. Of course, I won't turn them away, but please don't feel obligated. But Robert says, what do I think of the new Oris 65? I think for the money, it is one of the coolest vintage reeditions out there. I just had one for sale on DelReyWatch.com the other day. It lasted 1 hour before someone snapped it up. I think right now they're under $1,000, but they're going to be a future classic.
Yeah, I think it's a very, very, very cool watch. Okay, the big complaint I get, because a lot of videos I make are about doing strap changes and showing the versatility of a watch, right? Like, for instance, a Submariner, you can very easily dress it up or keep it sporty if you keep it on the bracelet, dress it up by throwing it on Crocodile or whatever. One of the biggest complaints I get about that Oris is the strap. Okay, you need to pick a proprietary strap because of the center lug design on the Aquis. Very similar.
Well, we're talking 65 though. This is the new like vintage look.
He said the new Aquis or the 65.
Oh,
so,
got it. Okay.
Right. So the 65, you don't have that problem. The new one, the current one, has a center lug design. Very solid watch, but if you're going to change the strap, you do not have very many options. You got to go proprietary through Oris because it has a stupid center lug design just like my Lac de Chine, which is hilarious that they're asking this when I have this watch out. I can't choose any other strap but a proprietary strap. I hate when companies do that, guys. I hate when companies do that. But
I agree. It's a pain in the ass. And actually, we got a great question, like perfect on topic, from Jared Packer. What do you think of a Hublot Spirit of Big Bang with a suit? You know, I think, Jared, if you like it, wear it. But in my honest opinion, it's an absolute no-no.
It's terrible. If you're asking me my opinion, never use that money on something else. Hublot's
or use it on that watch. Just don't wear it with a suit, in my opinion.
Right. It's okay. You're gonna hear it here, guys. I'm gonna give Hublot a compliment. They have some interesting technology in their watches and some interesting engineering. The presentability of like the final package is just so repulsive to me that I will never wear a Hublot.
I used to own a Big Bang.
It's not for me, man. It's not for me.
No, fair enough. But yeah. So what do you think, Jory? I mean, do you ever dress up in a suit? If you do you care what watch you wear? I mean, do you go out of your way to pick something dressy?
So being a watch guy, I think it's fun to fit your watch to the setting. Okay, I rarely wear a suit, but if I'm going out to like a formal occasion or a nice dinner or whatever, and I have my sports coat on, I think it's fun to throw on a Cartier tank or to throw on the Lac de Chine. I think it's really like, because if you have the ability to, why not? Like, we're in this hobby of watch collecting. Like, I think it'd be foolish not to take advantage and throw on your dress watch to go out, or we have the ability to, so why not? It's no different than like a girl picking out which heels she's gonna wear. As silly as that sounds, I think it's fun. So the answer is yes, I do like to dress up and pick the proper watch for the occasion if I'm ever in that type of environment.
Got it. Now, also, what do you think of this, Jory? I mean, the Submariner, as you said, great all-arounder, probably the best in-between watch. But we've got some pretty crazy dive watches out there, and we're live right now, so I can't really pull up a picture on the screen. If you guys don't know what this is, look it up. The Omega Pro Prof. I mean, probably the craziest purpose-built diver that lost out to the Rolex Submariner for Comex. I think that's why it was being designed.
Right.
But something that's completely ludicrous, that has no business being worn if you're not a diver, but it's sold to the public now. Now, personally, I think that's a really cool watch.
Oh, yeah.
It's just kind of, it's cool because it's so weird. You know what I mean? And the fact
wear those
no one's saturation diving with it.
Right. So, okay, I've seen people wear those with suits. Just a ridiculous power move, man, to do that. Here's the thing. People think the tuna is crazy because of the shroud. Okay, if you think this is crazy, look up that Omega. It will blow your mind, the design of that watch.
Yeah, dude, it's one of the ugliest watches ever fathomed by humankind, but it makes it so cool at the same time. I really want one.
Yeah, it's a very, very, very cool watch. Okay, someone asked you a question. Ramon Alberto Tamayo says, Fed, say something about the Seiko Sarbo 17. So that's the Alpinist.
Oh, is that the Green Alpinist?
Yes.
Okay, good. I was going to look that up.
Be careful what you say, Fed, because I'm on the other end of this. All right?
Hold on, man. I love that watch. I think it's super interesting. It's a little small for me. I think it's a 38. Is that right, Jory?
38, but it measures to 39. So
yeah, I mean, it's a little small for a big guy like me, but I think it's super interesting. It's great value. It's got a sexy dial and great hands. It's a confused watch because it's dressy, but it's a sports watch. I think like the faux gator, it comes on as garbage, but any watch in that price point comes with a garbage strap. Dude, it's a charming watch. It's a fantastic Seiko.
Yeah, and it's one of my favorites. You guys know that. If you want to know more about how I feel about that watch, or if you want to learn more about that watch, check out my channel because I talk about it pretty much nonstop.
TAC 178, Jory. This one I'm going to ask you. What do you think about Rado or Raymond Wheel?
Okay. Rados are incredibly ugly to me. I know that's going to be a heartbreaker to a lot of people because they really like those. I'm not a big fan of them. They hold value terribly. Not that should. I mean, if you like the way a watch looks, you shouldn't be too concerned with its value.
With the heart.
But they don't make anything I like. I know that's kind of a bummer answer, but that's
the new Rado Captain Cook actually looks pretty nice. I mean, I agree. I kind of hate those ceramic Rados. But right. Did you know, by the way, the most popular watch in Pakistan is a Rado?
Dang. Just via sales numbers or what?
It's like their number one market, like Rado's like Rolex over there.
It's awesome. Well, at least they know their consumer base.
Let's see. Christian M. Will people be kicking themselves for not buying a Nomos for the prices they are now? Christian, you maybe, but I remember when Nomos was like $800 brand new at retail. So while I think they're great value right now, to me, like a $3,000, $4,000 Nomos is kind of nutty.
Yeah, I think they're really impressive watches. I'm not a big fan of Bauhaus design. I think it's like a bit too sterile for me. But they do make like really well executed, incredibly refined, clean watches. I think in the next 5 years that will be their peak, though. I think they're coming up on the height of their popularity. But I don't think they're going to.
I can agree. They're doing real well. Ooh, here's a great question from a viewer that watches my channel all the time. So thank you for the support, Targa Floria. He says, guys, Speedmaster Pro on an alligator strap with a deployant. Okay, we'll repeat. Speedmaster Pro on alligator deployant as a dress watch. Yes or no? I think yes, it can be dressed up and it may suit some semi-formal, not semi-formal, business casual occasions, but no, it is absolutely not a dress watch. Just my opinion.
I think the Speedmaster by definition of like what it is. I think I would not consider it a dress watch. I think it could be dressed up.
Yeah.
Now, I do think some chronographs can be very, very nice dress watches. I don't think that one is.
Paddock 5070. That's like that crazy $70,000 manual line chronograph that they made.
But I think it'd look great on an alligator with a deployant. And I think you could wear it. Yeah, I think you could wear it under a cuff, but I don't think it's a dress watch.
No, I don't think it's a dress watch, but I mean, that is what I'm wearing. And it could be dressed up, but once again, never formal. I think like business casual is as far as this goes, in my opinion.
All right, let's see. TAC178 asks, Frederic Constant, are they a sleeper as well? Absolutely. Okay, absolutely.
Ooh,
I'm a huge proponent of Frederic Constant. I think the only thing that's a bummer is that you can find them at like Bloomingdale's. Like I get turned off.
All right. So Jory, I think my favorite Frederic Constant of all time is the one you own, which is like the moon phase.
Right.
Are they a sleeper watch? I think you get a lot of watch for the money, but I think the brand has a penchant of like self-destructing themselves by like blowing out their stock at 10 cents in the dollar and making shitty plated watches. Like, I think they could be a sleeper watch if they stop making 50% of the collection, which is garbage, and the other 50%, which is, genuinely a very good watch.
Right.
So I think the brand is just confused.
I think it needs to be more congruent, their lineup, because they'll make a really nice moon timer, really nice moon phase, and then they have like the manufacturer open heart or whatever that they're selling for over $5,000, which is a really good watch, really well made. But then they have a tourbillon that's like over $30,000, and
then they have like the gold-plated dress watch on Joma Shop for like $232.
Right. They're trying to get
Can't do that. Can't do it.
I think overall though, it is. I don't know if I'd consider them a sleeper. I think they are. I'll say they're underrated. I think they are underrated because there are some really impressive watches.
And actually, guys, unfortunately, we're coming up on the time to wrap up the show. We're almost at half an hour here. I've got to get back to work. Papa's got to sell some watches if he wants to pay the rent this month. But guys, as I said in the beginning, if you don't know Jory Goodman, if you don't know The Time Teller, my guest today, fantastic watch channel. His channel link is in the description below. I demand that every single one of you go subscribe to him if you haven't, and if you have, go unsubscribe and resubscribe.
Thank you.
Because he deserves it.
Thank you so much, Federico. Thank you for having me on your show. Guys, now, real quick, we're going to be trying to do these live streams every Thursday, and it's either going to be on his channel or my channel, but hopefully you're subscribed to both of us, and you will get updates as to where to be. But if you guys are enjoying these live stream conversations, please let us know in the comment section. Tell us if we're doing a good job. Let us know what we could work on. And we'd love to bring it to you regularly. So thank you for having me again.
It's my pleasure. And guys, we'll see you next week on the Time Tellers channel. Thank you so much for sticking around for another quasi episode of Federico Talks Watches. And we'll catch you in the next one. Take care.